For the elevation part of the assignment, we're going to be looking at building on site and drawing the front elevation or side elevation. The way that you can understand elevation, let's draw us. So this is us standing on site. Here's our building. And when you're looking up at the building, you're going to see it in some type of skewed perspective. So you've got these converging lines, and the windows, might look like this. But this is not how we want to draw it. We want to draw it in true perspective. And the way you can imagine is if you're floating way out here in space, and you're looking at the front facade and you're seeing the true proportion, the relationships, how they truly are in terms of vertical versus horizontal. So if you know that this line here, that this is actually a vertical line, if you were to look at the construction drawings, you would know that's a vertical line. So you would do some interpreting and you would draw that line as a vertical line in your sketchbook. And if there's say a window right here, you would also interpret, okay, all those windows are in a straight line and I know that it's a horizontal line. So you would draw that horizontal line. So you're interpreting as you're sketching, and you want to start with the overall proportion, right? So I suggest using your smallest line weight, the 005 or 1 if that's what you have. Now in your sketchbook, I would prefer that you rotate if you need to, and then sketch the height and width. So you want to fill the page as best as you can. I'm going to do a smaller sketch here just for time purposes. So I'm going to imagine that I'm sketching a building, and I've determined that the proportions are about 1 to 2. And the exercise also goes over a way that you can use your pen, hold it straight out in front of you, close one eye, and you can start to use your pen as a measuring device on site to help you determine some proportion and dimensioning. So I would start with the base of the building with my thinnest line weight, so something like that. And then I know I'm saying it's 1 to 2. I've already determined that. I also often use little tick marks to help guide me as I'm drawing. So before I make a line, I sort of measure it out. So I'm going to call that my height there. It's about 1 to 2. And so you're just creating a basic rectangle. So this is the edge of my building in a basic form. Now I would also usually come through and make a center line. And center lines in architecture are made with a long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just some sort of center line that helps me know, okay, there's the middle of the building. It's just a guide point. And then maybe I know that there's a set of windows, kind of a column of windows in the middle, but then there's 2 more on each side that are equally spaced out. So again, I'm going to use some tick marks and put in a couple more dashed lines just so I know that it's a center line quickly. Okay, and then I will start to think, okay, what about the horizontal lines? A grid is going to start to develop. So how many windows are there? So I'm going to start, same thing, tick marking. And maybe I'll use the bottom of the window. That'll be where I'm drawing my next set of lines, the bottom of the window. So I determine how many I've got, and then I'll start. Doesn't have to be dashed. I'll start sketching those in and getting a basic grid. So imagine that I fill all of this in. I'm going to stop here for now. And then I also have sides of the windows, right? So based on my center lines, I'm going to also determine, all right, here's think where the side of the window is. And that's when you can start to look, okay, how much space is between the window? What does it look like on the edge of the window? So you're always checking yourself as you go. So I'm going to go with this for now. So this is representing the side of my window. So there should be, a column of brick or whatever material that looks similar to that. So it's starting to fill out. Here's the bottom of my window, the side of my window, and now I just need the top. So again, from the bottom of the window, how much brick is showing? So maybe about that much. So I'm going to add another layer of grid all the way down. And this really helps with the alignment of your windows as well. So after I create the nice grid where I understand where objects go, then you can come back with a heavier line weight to fill things in. So I've got the 0.3 right now, and I'm going to use the 0.3 to outline my window. And for this exercise, we're not adding any other detail whatsoever, just the proportion of the window and the proportion of the overall. To see how I can easily show those two windows, and then I can fill in the rest of them as I go. I'm just doing a proportion here for you. Now the building outline, I'm going to use an 0.5, and same thing, I'm just going to outline what I've already drawn here, and maybe there's some type of cornice that I can add to the top. And see how it pops and the grid lines start to disappear. For the ground and elevation, you always show a ground line. I'm going to use my 0.8. So my heaviest line weight is going to be for the ground, a nice horizontal line that represents the ground plane. And that's all you want. That's all I'm expecting to see is these grid lines, and then the window proportions and the window divisions and the outline of the building. And that's really going to lay a good foundation for how to create elevations as we move forward.